I'm excited that you accepted that I become one of you, because you had the capacity to say, I want also, in the same spirit, want to congratulate my sister. She's my sister, and truly my sister, Honorable Laura Kanushu, for having come through as an unopposed member of parliament. Nazahaya na mwesiga hona nyangukamwe hamashita. Abukoya just take it in the name of Jesus. I receive. I have here my voters, very active members from the look of things. Ninjiraho introduction ejo ni mara. On parliament, aninganira na mnywano wa Jafande. Famanyara kuja tuwashite tamu zingai. Ejo niyo tamu yoko banza, my brother. But I've been a very active member of parliament. And by God's grace, I was also appointed by HE, the president, to chair the Committee of Finance, Planning and Economic Development for the last 3 years. So I was trying to find out who exactly enticed me to join KFOG. Nashanga n'abantu bingi konka mwishmuharanje bironje kata kangambiraga hata ino mushango, but my wife did, my brother Dick Vanges did, and Kutosi also followed with phone calls. Surprisingly, he's a very active guy. Yaguma nantera nkaichiriza kutaha mukare konkana achererwa kushashura agongo mazima because of commitments, political and otherwise. Konka, I can assure you the first step I took was not a major step. We are yet to make major steps in investing in this club. And for all good reasons, because other than poor timekeeping for meetings like this, the rest are the best. Because I know time is a resource. My wife must have had a lot of pressure from me. I said, are you aware we are supposed to be there at 10? So I said, worst case scenario, we should be there at 10:30. Indeed, we were here about 15 minutes past 11. And may consider that we were very late. So, by Florence, I think that's an area we need to improve on, because time is also a resource. So when I was sharing with Dick, we agreed that I can get a snapshot of areas we think we should invest in, especially with the perspective of government policies that could help us. And that conversation came as a result of his phone call, where we were talking of investment, and I was saying we can do rentals. I said, just take a minute and listen, because if you rush into rentals right now, you might be shocked because of what is coming. So what I have captured here now, I think will help us to do a strategic direction in terms of investments, because even government, which does 15-year plan and 5-year plan, what we call the National Development Plan, NDP, now we are doing the NDP 4. I was privy to the details of the NDP 4 because National Planning Authority is under the purview of the committee that I chair. I have realized that if I'm to read through everything, I might end up boring you. So I'm going to share this so that it goes on the record of KFOG platform for every one of us to always read through. So I'll just read the introduction and then give the bullets that we need to look at. And I started by saying I've always wished for a time when investment clubs could boost the dignity of the members and allow them to offer for their families and create independent beings. I don't know, before I even came, I didn't know details of the investment, but I had an idea. But when Beth was talking, and thank you so much for being so eloquent, Nani Mbuzaha, what is her discipline, Wanjangu CPA, I said, hey, very difficult, I mean, very unique to find someone who is so eloquent and yet an accountant. Accountants in my figures, so thank you so much. So the statement, I put it in bold, that and especially even the word, the scripture that we read, being able to influence and have a contribution on each other is very critical. That boosting the dignity of the members of the club and allow them to offer for their family and create independent beings, where independent beings includes our own siblings and our own children. So some of these things, as we talk about them, we should have a rear mirror of looking at our own children who have become experts and professionals in areas we would like to invest in. Investment clubs have become a notable feature in Uganda's financial landscape, mainly as a tool for capital mobilization and investment among individuals. So, appreciating the interplay between government policy, market trends, and risk management is crucial for investment clubs seeking sustainable returns. Successful investment clubs in Uganda require effective governance. And this one, I want us to pay attention to it. As long as I was hearing the introduction of people who are in charge, and I was so excited. Credit was being given, which is very good. But effective governance is at the center of every successful investment or any project. Clear strategies. We must have clear strategies. You can't just say every road I take will lead me to where I want. No. You must have a clear strategy, a clear vision. Where do you want to be? Which road will add you there? It doesn't matter how many bricks you're going to add every day, but as long as you know where you're going. Successful, I beg your pardon, clear strategies and diversification. We must not think of one thing. We must look at a number of options and look at those different business portfolios. I was trying to turn and see who is attracting everyone. You know, diversification means you're not putting your eggs in one basket, but you're not interested in putting eggs anywhere. You want to put them in a basket that is viable. So different business portfolios can be analyzed to look at which one makes sense. And others become cash cow, like most of you know. Others might be dogs, but they are important for a reason or so. So it is important that we do carefully analyze the diversifications we are looking at, with key drivers including existing markets, tax incentives, land availability, and government support. Those are critical areas. Because when you talk of existing markets, everything you have, you want it to end in a market for you to make a profit. So you must be able to make a critical analysis of the markets that are available for you to make good judgment of the investment you're making. And certainly, when you partner with government, or, you know, we have tax collectors here, or some of them have been there. Where is the one who? She's just next to me. They tell us that tax avoidance is very legal, but tax evasion is what is illegal. So, for you to plan for tax incentives could be a springboard for you as a startup. As you are aware, through some of the tax policies that I delivered on the floor of Parliament, included income tax exemption for those who registered with effect from the 1st July this year, that they will not pay income tax for the next 3 years. So now that you have me and Laura and others, God willing, if we stay in the parliament, we'll keep giving you tips or even defending, being your mouthpiece, where you can get exemptions and tax incentives. Land availability, we know land is a factor of production. That is a fact. That's why we're applauding our friend, and we became even more emotional, like I'm almost getting there too. When these people, very lovely people, accepted to give us land for free. So land is a factor of production. So sometimes you can get government land that is available. So for us to keep eyeing areas where we can have such an opportunity is a very important thing. And it's you and me, members of KFOG, who can be out there to make sure we sniff the opportunities that are there for our own benefit. And government support. And of course, government support, I will later on talk about it when I'm talking about housing and rentals. Uganda's investment policy priorities sector, like agro, industrialization, mineral development, tourism, ICT, offering incentives like financial access through Uganda Development Bank, tax holidays, and efficient one-stop center for investors could be an opportunity for us to exploit. Noted investment clubs in Uganda include Mwiri Investment Club, so we need to learn from others. We see where they have succeeded and maybe where they've failed, and how we can avoid those pitfalls. So we have Mwiri Investment Club with a structured approach for collective investment, DFCU Bank's investment clubs program, which has facilitated major saving yields since 2007. Stress-free investment clubs, Facebook-based group that amassed over 1 billion in savings and investment during the COVID-19 lockdown, and hopes becoming a bank. A limited guarantee group of experts started in 2013 with funds managed in low-risk securities by Stanbic Bank. Investment drivers, government policies and support. Investment in Uganda is driven by factors like established markets for agricultural goods, tax incentives, land availability, abundant resources, competitive costs, regional security, to mention but a few. Additional drivers include strong government support, access to power and water, good infrastructure like roads, road networks, and substation at industrial park sites. So why did I bring this? We don't have to limit our imagination, because we might grow into a big thing, and then we start saying, we have a lot of money, where do we put it? So as an investment club, if we have a sense of direction, and even though I mentioned most of them, we don't have to spread ourselves so thin. We must be specific. I'm mentioning them in general, so that along the way we pick our own path where we want to be. So below are the viable investment options in the next 2 to 3 years, and based on the recent global policy trends, viable investment opportunities exist in clean energy. That's one of them. Artificial intelligence. AI is something big. Even me in my campaigns, I ask AI questions. Of course, when you ask it a very vague question, you say, but you are not clear. What are you talking about? it also needs a clear question, and it will guide you. So AI, and that's how I was saying, I know most of our children have gone into universities, they are doing artificial intelligence, you know, IT, forensic, digital forensics and all those. So in a very near future, this world will have AI as the big thing. Infrastructure. Infrastructure here, you might be thinking of doing roads, yes, and many other things. You might find that KFOG has a business portfolio of construction of Maram roads, and you're taking contracts all over our districts and all that. So when I talk about infrastructure, for example, roads, that's an area we should not negate. And specialized investment instruments, which you know so well. So investors should weigh the impact of these regional and national policies on opportunities. And they include, one, treasury bills, which I know I'm not aware yet, since I told you I'm a fresher, but I think some of you have invested in treasury bills. Long term, a long term could be 91, 182, a whole year days, 364 days to maturity. So government bonds, which also include long-term 2, 5, and 10 years. These are low-risk investment options backed by government and offering fixed returns and accessible via CDSs. Now, I didn't want to go into those details because I'll share with you, and in the interest of time, because we have fixed deposit, money market funds, and unit trusts, which you know very well. And some of us, I think, are in those unit trusts. Like, it's what? Old Mutual? Yeah, and all those. And you know, they have different levels of risk. So, but the returns, high returns come with high risks. But those risks must be calculated. So you will see under the fixed deposit market, money market funds and unit trust, a number of issues that I talk about. Collective investment schemes, those ones include like Capital Markets Authority, opportunities that are available there. Artificial intelligence, here we are talking about continuous government and private investment in artificial intelligence. We know, for example, that government and Bank of Uganda was trying to find out financial platforms that they can form. We don't have to rush to compete at that level. But I can assure you, artificial intelligence, you can start some software that you can use and sell out, and these have made money. And since we have our young generations that are so keen to that, we could support them if we see they have good ideas. And when they have good ideas, government can come in to support. And once you break through, you can't believe the cash flow that would come through. Then we have clean energy and decarbonization. Government is prioritizing the transition to clean energy, which creates opportunities in solar, electric vehicles, battery technology, wind power. When I was in primary school, we used to see wind vanes. So we have a lot of potentials in Uganda of creating power creation alternatives that could even come and you sell even power to the main power grid at a cost. Commercial agriculture and agro-processing. You know, commercial agriculture is different from just agriculture, the one I do with my sister Mary. Commercial agriculture is, even if it's not on a large scale, reasonable scale, but is supported by water for production through irrigation, and it must be intensive, that in a small area you can have high productivity. And then value addition, of course, it comes with that agro processing. In this area, I know opportunities that are there. You can sell a lot of vegetables in very neighboring, like UAE. I have friends who have contracts, but the biggest challenge is that if you are not having a reliable source, and these people normally give you contracts that are, very strict, have stringent terms. You must commit that you supply a certain quantity in a given time T. Any shortfall of that, it can cost you a lot of money and even loss of business. So in most cases, you don't want to do it alone. You can do a backward linkage by connecting to maybe different areas. They could be your village, your district, where you train them and they become your supplier. You're touching some souls by creating that knowledge to them, but because you have the quality, the capacity to do value addition and through the chain export and make money both for yourself and for the people who produce. Some of those things I've seen, for example, in Rampara, where I come from, people have earned a lot of money in coffee. And coffee, because now, and I was telling my sister Mary, as I know mkono go kuhinga ninjira nawe akata hariya tinagira ngo no gukurisa tagwini nare yaja ni mangu no kurisa narisa konka nkareba umusiro gwa Mary gwo mwani na comparing no gwanje Rwampara. I think, and next time I think we should be talking about figures, because just general statements like now, they are good to give us a direction, but when you go into figures, how much money you earn, people are making money even in different areas. In abakuhinga carrots, you cannot quench the thirst of that demand. Enyanya, kuyaho, people who don't plan eventually give up on farming because they rely on natural rains. So that's why government is pushing for water for production. So that's an area, and you read through energy and mineral development. First of all, we had a discussion at the dining where I sat with friends who were talking about how Uganda is endowed with a lot of minerals. But being able to look at that investment option will buy into the strategic direction of the country under the NDP4. Manufacturing, of course, that one is needless to mention. Science, technology, and innovation is something to do with AI also. And of course, government is interested in supporting startups in that area. Software development, e-commerce platforms, and the manufacturing of ICT equipment are encouraged. And of course, when I say this, some of you think we are not yet there in manufacturing, but that's a big direction we should think of. Yeah. Real estate. Real estate is a discussion that I hinted on when I was sharing with my brother Dick. You can see the planning of houses is not actually the best. But what government has, or what is in plan, and what the president has shared with us, is we have to look for cheap and patient capital. And recently, I was tasked to handle the mortgage refinance company bill. I don't know whether some of you have come across that. And I want to assure you that information is power. The mortgage refinance company, we went and even benchmarked in Nairobi, where companies, even circles, I visited some circles, big time, with about 365,000 membership, and big time with billions and billions of money. So what government will do, since we pass the bill and the president is yet to assent to it, what government will do, will go to World Bank or ADB, get money, which is cheap, very cheap. And when it comes, it will be given to big companies and circles to be able to construct planned structures. Like you see Bugorobi flats, those of you have been there. So that now you sell them out to people, especially our young ones, to move them away from renting. You know, in that perpetuity of renting and paying rent, you never own your own house. So the plan government has is to make sure those houses, once they are built and you stay in them, the amount you pay equivalent to the rent is reducing the cost and therefore preparing you to own that flat or that house. So which will help our people especially. So if you rushed into building houses now, government would cause you a loss because there's a direction government is taking. So it's very important that we are cognizant of some of those policies and government direction. What does that mean? It means that we have an opportunity later on to be given chance, if we grow our muscle, to allow us to have such opportunity, because what you do, you're given money, you have a construction company that builds according to your plan, and people come and buy them and you repay back, because it is as patient as 25 years plus. And the next one is tourism development. Somehow we always negate that area, we always don't. But I know tourism is another area, if promoted, we can invest in. We have a number of vehicles. You know, when you have different business portfolios, it helps you. The streams that come in, they're the ones which cause that significant amount of money that you, at the end of the day, celebrate at a day like this one when we are closing the year. And of course, Uganda's rich flora and fauna offers large investment potential across the entire tourism and hospitality value chain. So there are prospects there that we shouldn't avoid. Finally, service. This is a growing demand for private investment. There is this growing demand for private investment in healthcare. And it's good that I heard you mention things to do with where charity is there. I don't know. It was there. Welfare, there. We are saying there is a growing demand for private investment in healthcare. Most of these health services you are aware in Uganda that are public, people criticize them a lot. So that's why I'm one of the proponents in Parliament of the fact that government should do a PPP with private sector and invest in run those hospitals. Because that's when you pay attention to those details, which I think is a critical turnaround. So I'm saying healthcare and educational services are areas that have a potential to invest in, driven by the population growth and government policy supporting public health and insurance. So this is an area we should not negate, an area we should pay attention to, and I'm very sure if we had a critical eye on an opportunity, it could be very good. Thus, investment clubs can find viable long-term options in private health and education service, as well as in financial institutions and related technology. In conclusion, for an investment club to succeed, it must leverage government policies good to the sector like agro-processing, real estate, and tourism. Such requires a robust internal framework including clear governance, defined investment strategy, and the use of technology to manage risk alongside ratifying actions and bolstering internal controls to allay issues of poor governance, membership commitment, and financial literacy. Now, as a reflection and an outlook, investment clubs should reflect on risk tolerance, because sometimes you fear to risk, but risk tolerance is another aspect that we must pay attention to. Like I said, doesn't compromise those controls. Transparency and due diligence when making investment decisions. Have you had transparency? So that members are very sure and they agree to move with you. In most cases, that's where the divide, the sign of division starts, the one they were telling us in the scripture that we started with. So, when making investment decisions, those are very critical. And adopt a long-term strategy with diversified portfolios to mitigate risk despite the existing government policies. Now, further, a balanced approach that combines high growth equity options with stable fixed income options can help achieve steady returns and navigate potential policy shifts. The club's governance, investment policy, and exit strategies. You know, it is good to talk about reality. Tomorrow someone will say, I'm tired of this thing. But what is your exit strategy? So that people are able to balance off. Should I just exit? Because when it is just like this, people will exit anyhow, and you can kill an otherwise good thing. So the exit strategies are also crucial for success and member commitment. In my view, it's the right time for the club to engage, especially in ventures that stress value addition, sustainability, and local capacity building. These are not just income opportunities, but steps towards a more self-reliant and prosperous club. I conclude. Thank you so much, and God bless you. I want to conclude by thanking all of you for accepting me to come and share with you. And I want to commit that I will continue to remain committed as a member of the club. And where there is any opportunity, I'll make sure KFOG is given the first priority. May God bless you.
Thank you very much, Honorable, for that wonderful presentation.